Hey everyone! Welcome back to Story Hive. If you love diving into amazing tales, crazy confessions, and heartwarming moments from Reddit, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. My family abandoned me years ago when my ex falsely accused me of rape. Now they want to reconcile, but I've shown them the wonderful life and family they missed out on. My ex-girlfriend cheated on me, and after I found out and confronted her, she got scared and told nearly everybody we knew that I had raped her to cover up her cheating. I was placed in custody during the investigation, but was released as there was no evidence. My parents had already disowned me, and most of my friends had distanced themselves from me. I wasn't even proven innocent by a jury, so my parents still believed me to be a rapist who had gotten lucky. My best friend began to help me behind my parents' backs, and I ran away. I had nothing to lose as nobody liked or even approached me, and my college barred me from attending lessons, only emailing me the work and bringing me in for exams. I went as far away from that town as I could and got an apartment. After working in some community jobs for some money, I managed to stabilize myself. I decided to change my name after a while because I came to hate looking at it for some reason I still don't know. This helped me start with a clean slate, and I made a few new friends when I went into university again. I don't know why I did this. I'm still in truckloads of debt and was incredibly poor. Looking back, I finished my degree in teaching and moved far away to a country on the opposite side of the globe where I live now. I got a nice apartment and settled down in my new job. I eventually met a girl who turned out to become my wife. I originally couldn't trust her, and after realizing how much patience she had with me, I would flinch if she tried to touch me or start fidgeting when she got close. I fell head over heels for her. She eventually gave birth to my twin daughter and son, who I adore and will defend to the edge of the universe. Her family got used to me very quickly, considering I was a foreigner and not very trusted. They treated me well, and I sort of remembered what a loving family actually is. Now I'm living in a nice house with both of my children, and my wife and I are very happy. That is, until last night when I was playing on our PlayStation with my son while my wife and daughter were in the garden. There was a knock on the door, and lo and behold, my father was there. He smiled weakly and began to speak, but I slammed the door so hard I scared my son. I took him to his room and called for my wife to take my daughter to bed. She was freaking out, and so was I. My father kept knocking on the door, and I just broke down. At that moment my wife comforted me and then answered the door for me. She asked who he was, and he said he was my father. I had given my wife a vague background of me, and she had nothing but sorrow for me. She looked pissed, understandably, and began to scream at my father for abandoning me and whatnot. After she calmed down, I told her to let him in and for her to go to our kids' bedroom and keep them busy while I talked to my dad. He said that he was doing my ex-girlfriend a favor by clearing some stuff on her phone. While he was clearing out some messages, he saw a conversation between her and the guy she was cheating on me with, basically expressing guilt for ruining my life and that she wanted to take it all back. My father didn't confront her, as he wasn't ready to bring back a dead situation, but silently began to hunt for me to tell me that he believed me. I don't even know how he found me, but I don't care because he's here now. For the part I need help with, I don't know what to do. After walking through some random streets, I've considered my options alone and come to some conclusions, but I'm not sure what the best decision is. Turn him away and tell him to go back to our country and leave me alone. Reconcile with him and tell my mother. If there is a better option that you have, please let me know. I'm stressing out hard here, and I'm planning to take the day off work tomorrow. My father is in an apartment nearby, so I'll probably go to him with my answer. Thanks in advance. Comments. Gentius, he said that he was doing my ex-girlfriend a favor by clearing some stuff on her phone. Is this not odd to you? Why would he still have contact with her? Why would he snoop on her phone? What people just trying to help don't do is break into phones. This is a red flag. The man disowned you still has contact with a woman who ruined your life, found the truth by snooping, and somehow stalked you halfway across the globe. Is this the chaos you are ready to unleash on your family? 23,454. You're right, none of it adds up. It's such a messy situation, and I hate being put in this position. I'm struggling to find the right words to say to him and to answer everything. Master Advice Giver 26. Oh, sweetie, this was really brutal to hear. People who make false allegations should be sued and jailed. It ruins people's lives. This was absolutely ridiculous. The best advice I can give is to keep him out of your life. He was so willing to dump you so fast without even spending enough time to talk it out with you. Not to mention you're already happy with the life you have without them. Of course, you can choose to forgive whoever you want, but I wonder what his motive to try to reconcile was. Best of luck, dear, and thanks for sharing your story. 23,454 RP. Thank you. I would like to go down the eye for an eye route and just not let him go near my family. I'm not the most forgiving person. In retrospect, he has to live with the consequences of his actions. Ballistic Pineapple. This is so much all at once that was thrust on you. I think having your father go back home will be good, giving you time to fully decompress and understand what is happening. You can always reach out to him if you are ever ready, but having this situation forced on you is not the best. This is something that you can have control over. This is your life now, and you get to decide how you want this situation to be handled. You should think about what would give you the most control to process this information and formulate a plan. Do this at your own speed and take as much time as you need. 23,454 op yang. In the end, it's going to be my choice as to what to do. I've accepted that much. My son asked me who he was a few hours ago, and I can't muster up the courage to tell him that it was his grandfather. More info. I know that it comes down to whether I want them in my life or not. I know I won't receive a definitive answer to all my questions. I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around it all while putting together different answers from different people. Looking back, I'm baffled as to why they just dumped me like that. Maybe she made some fake texts, but she would have shown the police, and I vividly remember them saying there was little to no evidence backing her up. Not much of it adds up. Not that I want to, it all merges into a bad dream at times. Thanks anyway. I'll get to a choice eventually. Update 1. Hi everyone, I'm sorry that I haven't said anything recently. I have come to the decision that I will not reconcile with my father. I simply couldn't find it in myself to forgive him. Some of you might want a story, so here is how it went down. The day after I made the post, I visited my father in his hotel and told him that I wouldn't reconcile with him or anything like that. He had tears in his eyes, but was understanding. He said he told my mother about what happened and cut my ex-girlfriend off from the family entirely. As many of you questioned, I asked him why they were still in contact with her. He said that she apparently felt too guilty to let us go. I'm not too inclined to believe it, as were many of you, but it's closure enough for me. Apparently my mother didn't take the news too well and tried to get my phone number, but my father didn't let her. I'm not sure what I could really trust, given that I feel most of it is just a ploy to get me back into their lives. But after they threw me out onto the streets, like a rabid dog, it just makes me sick. My son did end up asking who was at the door, but I told him that it was a colleague. When they're older, we are going through tough times. I plan to tell both of them what happened to me in my past to let them know that I understand. We're all fine. It shook me up a bit, but I hope I have my father's word in him keeping my new life a secret. If anything else happens, I'll keep you updated, but I think the matter is resolved for now. Thank you all so much for the support and good words. If anybody you know has gone through the things I have, be there for them. You cannot throw them to the streets. Always stay alongside them and make sure they're happy, even if they have to move across the planet to be so. Update 2. I was living peacefully before my father found me, and it kicked off a chain of events that led to this post. I recently had an incident with my family involving them breaking a promise. It angered me incredibly, and after a lot of thought I decided I would face them directly. I flew back to my home country and met with everybody involved, my mom, dad, brother, and even the girl who accused me. I was nervous, of course, but I was shocked when I realized I didn't really see them as family. I recognized them, of course, but I didn't see them the way I see my wife. My mother started by breaking into tears and trying to apologize. I just felt disgusted by it. My father comforted my mother, and my brother was the one who kept his composure and initiated the conversation. He asked me how I was doing, and I responded by telling him to cut any small talk. I told all of them that I was not looking for reconciliation, and I simply wanted closure. I made sure to tell them that I would call the police if they attempted to chase me. I asked my parents why they were so quick to abandon me even though the police said there was no proof. They said they made a rash decision, and seeing me in custody broke their hearts. I called them out on it, since they didn't try to stick up for me or anything. I then asked what some people on my original post had said about my father looking through my accuser's phone. He said that she came to him to ask him to clear off her phone of non-essential stuff. My dad was always good with technology, so while it wasn't fulfilling, I accepted it. I then asked my brother why he never contacted me. He looked surprised and said that he did, but I just ignored him all that time. Turns out he was right. My brother had tried hundreds of times to contact me and give me money to get me off rock bottom, but questioned why I never answered and assumed that I hated him because of what happened. Well, as it turns out, my mother had my contacts blocked on all of her phone plans as she paid for my brother's old phone plan, so I couldn't even receive help when I was completely lost. Then, the cherry on top was my ex. I first asked her why she actually did it. She said that she was scared of what would happen and that she never stopped loving me even throughout it all. She said that every session of therapy made her feel even more guilty, as she knew it was all fake. She then told me that she hadn't dated anyone since, in hopes that I would come back and she could apologize because I'm sorry would really reverse time and fix all of it. Apparently, even that was a lie, because my father said he found chat logs of 3 different partners she had when I was away. My ex broke down crying and tried to hold my hand. She had the audacity to ask for another chance. This just made me spiteful, and I pulled out my phone and began showing all of them hundreds of pictures of my 2 children's milestones and good times, my family, our visits to cities, their first day of school, both of them, and my wife in my arms. I told her that this was what she could have had if she wasn't so stupid, and my parents what they missed out on for not even hearing me out. I had a moment when I thought I had gone too far, but I realized that compared to what they did to me, I hadn't. My visit wasn't all miserable, though. I met up with my old best friend and his family. They were happy to see me, and I was still grateful for them taking me in when it felt like the whole world was against me. I plan to return to the country one day to show my kids where half of their culture comes from. I won't let them anywhere near my family, though. As far as I'm concerned, my only family is my wife, her family, and my kids. I'd say it went pretty well. Edit: as some of you asked, I decided to allow my brother to fly over and meet his nephew and niece. I completely forgot to mention this in the post apologies. I hesitated at first because my brother and I weren't really on great terms growing up, brotherly rivalry and all that. I don't have any social media, so it's understandable that he could only try my phone number, but by that point I had another number, so it wouldn't have worked. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.